In this podcast, I would like to introduce three framing ideas. Preventive care as the missing pillar in women's health, movement as regulation, not fitness, and pelvic floor as a starting point, not the end point. I've had so many guests, so many experts on my show. Between all the talk and theory, one thing I've had missing, and that is, what do we do after all the talk settles in? Actionables. And to introduce actionables, I've got somebody very special to Global Menopause Collective, to me in person, Madhurji. She has been a mentor to Global Menopause Collective. She has been a guiding light for me personally. And she has that beautiful calm and a very spiritual personality. She is a movement therapist working at the intersection of pelvic floor, breath, fascia, and nervous system regulation. So thank you so much, Madhurji. Thank you so much for agreeing to join this podcast. And thank you so much for guiding us right from the beginning and touch wood wherever we are right now.
Oh, we are going places.
I hope
Thank
I
you so
am.
much,
Yes, we
Harman.
are.
Thank you so much. So, before we start the whole conversation, what I really want you to do is just hold yourself for 10 seconds and imagine that just close your eyes. It's a 10 seconds thing. Close your eyes. So, your feet are planted on the ground, your back is straight as much as possible, and you are able to place your sit bones. So, sit bones are the two bones right at the base of your hip. And you should be sitting on that, back straight as much as possible, and just close your eyes. Now, next, I want you to imagine that you have roots coming out of the base of your feet, and they are just getting very gently extended and pulled into the ground. Just let your body go. So keep that thought in your head, and now open your eyes. Keep the roots going down into the ground. Keep that at the back of your mind. And now we can start. So this is a basic grounding
Wonderful.
exercise.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's a basic grounding exercise which has become a daily routine for me simply because our
Mm,
mind is in so many places, right?
mm.
So yeah, let's start. Otherwise, I'll just not stop talking.
So I want to
Go.
start with something very basic, Madhurji. I want to start with something that we don't really talk about. I want to talk about preventive care in women. Women's body move through constant transitions from puberty to pregnancy to perimenopause, menopause. Most hormonal and metabolic conditions develop silently years before diagnosis, if there is any diagnosis. And
True.
preventive care, in my opinion, is the only screening that should be happening, you know. So, what's in your opinion, what's the relationship between breath, emotions, posture, safety, and all this nervous system regulation?
So let's talk about breath first, and then we can move on to the pelvic floor. Now,
Right.
say for example, uh, so say let's take a situation that your boss is not a very nice person, or simply because you and him don't think on the same level, and therefore he's not
Right.
nice. But what is
Right.
happening? आजकल this toxic environment office जो भी है, उसमें क्या होता
Hmm.
है कि God forbid you are receiving an email, or you're waiting for an email to come which is not bringing good news. Instantly when you are going into that phase, the first thing that gets affected is your breath. How?
Hmm.
You're breathing shallow, anxiety ho rahi hai. The whole body is coming into a fetus pose. So there's fear. Right. Now,
Hmm.
when there is fear, the breath work is getting affected. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the
Hmm.
first
Hmm.
thing. Then it kind of flows down into the body, the diaphragm, obviously, because that's your breathing body organ. Then
Hmm.
it goes down into the stomach. So people start getting these stomach cramps and all that. And then lower abdomen, which we call as the pelvic floor, starts getting constricted. So, see that one email that you're expecting from your boss has caused so much of disharmony within the body. Now, how
I've been,
breath,
I'll like to pause here, Madhurji. We've been speaking about pelvic floor. We hear about pelvis, of course, but
yeah,
where is this pelvic floor? What is this?
okay,
Before you explain the entire thing, I mean, let's
yeah.
clarify this. What is pelvic floor?
So, pelvic floor is the area which is protected by the pelvic girdle, which
Hmm.
means starting from the lower abdominal area, the lower back, the hips, and everything that is connected, relatively
Hmm.
closer or more, uh, uh, I won't say local. So the pelvic floor is like a girdle, where your organs are also protected, the reproductive system is protected.
Hmm.
And
Right.
when we look at it from the psychological part, lot of emotions are also, you know, living there. Because, and then when there is a kind of a trauma which affects the body,
Hmm.
especially with regard to women, that's the first area that gets affected. So when we talk about puberty, a girl starts her periods, she has cramps, she has very heavy bleeding, and now PCOD, PCOS, all those things are happening.
Hmm.
That is the first area that gets affected. बाकी सब तो
Right.
ठीक है, आप अपना फिटनेस कर रहे हो, but there are some things which are connected to the pelvic floor. So puberty say, since puberty, we have to start looking at taking care. Now, as we start growing older, obviously there is wear and tear, there is tonicity we are losing, there is tightness of fascia. There are so many things which are getting affected. And at the base is pelvic floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how do you connect this to breath now?
Okay. So so say for example, most of the exercises that we're doing an inhale and exhale, right?
Hmm.
So when
Hmm.
you're inhaling, what is happening? The entire body is expanding. There is
Right.
expansion of chest, there's expansion of abdomen, there is expansion of the pelvic floor,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
your pubic muscles. So when I'm talking about the pelvic floor, I am talking about this entire region. Now we have two bones here, and if you had to really focus, if you placed your hand here and if you took a deep breath, you
Hmm.
would actually feel those bones expanding.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
the breath is connected through the entire body. And obviously, when there is trauma, the first thing that gets affected is our pelvic floor. And when there is trauma to the pelvic floor, which means obviously perimenopause, menopause, anyways, because estrogen is gone. But before that, also, if there is anxiety, if there is stress, the entire body is going to get constricted and it'll just kind of go into a shell, including the pelvic floor.
Right.
And then over a
Right.
period of time, that we are not giving the pelvic floor an opportunity to open up. Periods में भी क्या
Hmm.
होता है, क्रैम्पिंग होती है, उसके बाद हम लोग भूल जाते हैं. Till next month, we have more severe cramps. So during that interim,
Mm.
especially girls who have heavy bleeding, or it's becoming very common that young girls who have heavy bleeding are being diagnosed with anemia. So keeping in mind all those things, it's very important to start pelvic floor awareness and pelvic floor small exercises from puberty. So there is a
Right.
difference between pelvic floor and core exercises. Yeah, when we talk about core, we are working the entire kind of a structure which includes the upper part, lower. But pelvic floor is specifically around the pelvic region, your lower abdomen, and the hips. Yeah.
So when we talk about, so I would request you to demonstrate a certain breathing exercise possibly, because we've been talking
Okay.
about breath and probably that's the easiest that we should be kind of able to um, our pelvic floor
Yeah.
with breath.
So yes. So let's connect the two. Yeah. Let's do something which makes us aware of the entire breathing pattern of the body. So, for
Hmm.
example, place one hand on your chest. Okay. I have a mic here,
Hmm.
so you need to tell me.
Right.
So, and
Right.
place one hand on the lower abdomen. All right.
Right. Hmm.
Now, when you're breathing in, what is happening? The entire body is expanding,
Expanding.
right? But
Hmm.
a lot of times, many people are focusing more on the chest and less on
Hmm.
the lower abdominal area. Your
Right.
lower
Right.
abdominal area is also part of the pelvic floor.
Right.
So when we breathe in, is there any expansion that is happening here? Very rarely.
Very
जिसको हम
rarely.
लोग,
Yes.
which we call diaphragmatic breathing. Yeah,
Right.
a lot of us
Hmm.
are doing shallow breathing. So, if we want to actually check the breathing pattern, when you take a deep breath in, you breathe in, and the entire lower abdominal area expands and it fills up like a balloon.
Hmm.
Whereas there is very little movement in the chest area.
Hmm.
If your breathing pattern is on track. I will not say correct because there is nothing which is perfect, depending from
Right.
situation to situation. But if it is slightly on the path of correct breathing, right? So when
Hmm. Hmm.
you breathe in, you expand the abdominal muscles, everything opens up. So your chest should
Hmm.
open up. And when we are exhaling, everything is
Hmm.
contracting, which means the pelvic floor muscles are also contracting.
Right.
Whereas when we are in shallow breathing, there is no activity happening here.
Right. I
That
agree.
means this poor area is not getting enough oxygen to be able to function optimally. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, one quick 10-second exercise, place your hand on your chest, place your hand on your lower abdomen. When you breathe in, allow the entire body to expand. And when you breathe out through your mouth. Exhale, 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 and pull the abdominal muscles in. There is automatic constriction of the pelvic floor. Another
Hmm.
exercise. Yeah.
Hmm.
Place your hands on your place. So take these two thumbs, place them on your rib cage. All right. Now close your eyes. This takes a little while. So close your eyes. When you breathe in, just focus on what body parts are expanding. Breathe in and breathe out really slow. Slow. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out really slow. So, any movement in the rib cage?
It's going sideways for me.
Yes, it is going sideways. But for some people, there is no movement. Now, when there is no expansion and contraction of the breath, there is disharmony which is created between the entire system of the body. So
Right.
obviously, when there is not enough breath which is moving towards the pelvic floor, towards the lower abdominal area, below the diaphragm,
Hmm.
obviously, what's going to happen? It's not going to be able to function well. So,
Hmm.
how, when we talk about in stress, we get constricted, right? But
Hmm.
we also need to kind of make sure that we are opening up the body. Stress is fine. You
Right.
can't stop stress, right?
Right.
And this habit has to develop right from puberty. A
Right.
simple exercise which everybody advocates, talks about is Kegels. I feel yes, Kegels is a great exercise, but that sometimes does not work because sometimes when your pelvic muscles are very tight, that
Hmm.
exercise is not going to help you. So
That is not enough.
my
Yeah. That's what.
yes, so first, most important is the breath work to understand whether all the organs are getting enough oxygen to be able to function optimally. Yeah. So then,
Right.
then after that, yes, the kids do a lot of children who are very physical. And these days there is so much of talk of Pilates and
Hmm.
which does involve a lot of pelvic floor work. Yeah. So now let's do one basic pelvic floor exercise. Is that okay?
Right. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn around so that it'll be easier for all of you to focus. So, say, for
Hmm.
example, I am sitting on the gym ball. Right.
Hmm.
Now, you will see that the gym ball has moved forward simply because I have curled in my pelvic floor muscle and my
Right.
back is straight. Now, when
Hmm.
I'm extending it, my back is going back.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, when
Hmm.
I'm curling it in, this entire region is getting a kind of a contraction,
Contraction.
which
Yeah.
the muscle is moving. Am I
Hmm.
visible? Okay.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
I'll do this standing. So
Hmm.
place your hands. There are these two kind of mountain ridges, which we call the
Right.
iliac crest. Now,
Hmm.
when, okay, I'm going to move this. When we are engaging the pelvic floor muscle, this is the region, we are
Hmm.
just curling this in. There is nothing going on here, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just this and these are very gentle
Hmm.
movements, which should be done with awareness, and that's where your breath work comes.
Right.
So if you are
Perfect.
breathing very hard, very fast, and if you're trying to engage your pelvic floor muscles, you might feel that they are getting engaged, but they are not.
Right.
Therefore, I'm very, that's why I wanted to connect the breath work and the pelvic floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Makes
this is
sense.
something that children, puberty, everything, it's the first step, but at least it is a step towards prevention of further damage. And even if there will be damage. We all, especially pregnancy, especially when estrogen is gone, perimenopause, estrogen levels are reducing, we are losing tenosity of the body. Right, we
Right.
are losing collagen from the body. We are losing the muscle strength from the body. So, if we start at an early age, if we
Hmm.
understand this, the damage can be prevented.
And it should be, in my opinion, it should be a mindfully done exercise. It is not
That's why I
supposed to be
connected the breathing.
just, so basically, it is not just supposed to be movements. It is supposed to be done with a proper mindfulness. And this is what brings me to the next point here. The pelvis is often, the pelvis is often the first place any imbalance shows up. But this is
True.
usually the last place that we are taught to look. How many people do actually understand that emotions reside in our pelvic area. How many people do understand that trauma, stress, it goes and resides, it gets getting stored in your pelvis area? And if at all, you can't really say that, okay, fine, I will not go through life.
No, it's not possible.
Life has its own washing machine and everybody will be washed in it.
Absolutely.
So when you go
Yeah,
through life, there will be a lot of storage in your pelvic floor. I always call it as the storage center of
true.
everything that is downloaded and experienced. It all goes and resides there.
Yeah,
This is where you start to have those butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous,
true.
because all
True.
that is going and storing there. That's the first organs in your body that are actually getting affected. What do you do when you start having these particular, I would say, con- constrictions?
Are we talking about the emotional part, or are we talking about accumulation of emotions? See, by itself, nobody will say that, dude, a lot of emotions are accumulated in the pelvic floor. There are various, say, someone who's coming with chronic back pain, someone who is coming with something called pelvic floor dysfunction, someone who is coming with frequent UTIs, which happens as we start growing older. But in children, these days, I'm finding it so common that girls are complaining of lower abdomen pain, even boys are complaining of lower abdomen pain. So, and there is no scientific reason for it. And there are biased views, or what should I say? There are views that some believe in the accumulation of emotions and some don't. But I
Hmm.
personally have experienced it myself because I was going through a very stressful time at some point in my life.
Hmm.
And I used to get these frequent loose motions. So I went to the
Hmm.
doctor. Doctor said, amoebasis, please look at your gut. Yes, gut. Uh, Understood. But that is also pelvic floor now.
So basically, you
Gut
saying that
is,
this will accumulation of, let's say, such accumulation, or let's just refine it further.
yeah.
When you are going through life and that washing machine is swirling, what we call it
Yeah, the
as
way you
stress,
explain these things, very good.
right? So when that swirl motion is on and the spinning mode is on, and you're going through life, everybody has to,
True.
you automatically understand that yes, there's a lot of storage happening somewhere. Probably by the end of this podcast, people should understand that where is that hard disk kept? Where is that storage happening? The first sign
Okay, I'm going to
of,
stop you here, Harman. I'm going to stop
sorry,
you. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but what I actually want to say is if you know that storage is happening, you do not allow it to accumulate.
mm, mm,
So, therefore, that mindfulness that we were talking about, or the awareness exercise that we did, or the breath work are all a precursor to
mm,
ensure that later on in life, you have the tools to be able to handle, and therefore, that's where your preventive care comes in, right?
absolutely, absolutely. You've
I'm
connected it
sorry,
right.
but yes, this is
Yeah, you've
something that
connected it well.
really came in mind. Yeah, so please go ahead. So,
So, one of the first things that should start to happen is that you will have low immunity, and that's probably why bacterial infections, viral infections start to grip you faster, quicker, and more frequently.
yeah,
The other thing is, I'm taking it one step ahead.
please.
Many people don't understand why they've started to suddenly breathe shallow, why they are gaining weight
True.
around the belly, or probably inflammation starts to show up. Their markers start to go haywire.
True.
Pelvic floor, of course, is one of the causes that, yes, we've not been exercising pelvic floor, or there's a lot of accumulation of these emotions, trauma, whether it is physical or emotional or psychosomatic. But
True.
there's another thing that affects, and it's rarely discussed. And I'm glad that you come with so much of knowledge about that topic. I'm talking about lymphatic fluid. What is
True.
this?
So, it's basically in general, very common. It's the immunity system of the body. This is what is protecting our immunity.
Hmm.
So, when there is accumulation of lymphatic fluid, which
Hmm.
is happening in organs like your adenoids, your tonsils, your spleen, your small intestine,
Hmm.
everything. So, look at it. Adenoids are, in your nose, tonsils in your throat. So, the
Right.
entire system, spleen, small intestines, entire system is kind of getting affected. So,
Hmm.
whenever there is stress, everything
Hmm.
again coming back, everything just stops.
Hmm.
So, when the fluid flow in the body stops, when the blood flow in the body gets reduced, or there are constrictions, there are going to be repercussions. So, lymphatic drainage now is becoming a very uh, important topic with terms of recovery, and
First of
obviously
all,
started with the
Madhurji,
face.
what is lymphatic fluid in the first place? Why is it there in the body? What's the functionality of this? Is it to carry out
The
toxins,
toxins,
or so
absolutely.
how does
It
that
is.
work?
So see, during when there is movement, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, a lot of time, most of the time, lymphatic drainage, most of the time, the only way you can drain lymphatic fluid is by movement. So something like Tai Chi, something like Qigong, something like in our yoga also, we do have a few movements which help with lymphatic drainage. But uh, there are certain exercises, workouts, which actually are specifically for lymphatic drainage, specifically for lymphatic drainage. And so for example, there is this lady who used to come to me, and she was swollen. I mean, there was bloating, forget bloating, and any place that I would touch her, one, there would be a
Inflamed,
huge
yeah?
dip, inflamed, and inflamed, not hard, but inflamed soft. So even if I
Soft.
would like very gently hold her, my fingers
Hmm.
would dig into her.
God.
And and that poor lady was going through so much trauma that there was so much of accumulation of lymphatic fluid. So what
Hmm.
really worked with her was just movements to help drain lymphatic fluid. So, our lymph nodes, where they are. They are under the
Yes,
arms, they
yes,
are in the
yes.
groin,
Right.
they're going like they're another system in the body. So,
So
like we have,
what I understand
yeah,
from this particular talk, Madhurji, I'm so apologetic. I'm really cutting you
no,
short.
no, not at all, please.
So, see, blood has a pump. That's the heart.
Yeah,
Lymph has no pump.
that's
Now,
why
what does
movement.
lymph do? That's what lymph does. Lymph removes waste. It reduces inflammation, and there's one very particular task that lymph does is it removes hormonal byproducts. Now,
Yeah,
it depends on movement. It depends on breath, and also it depends on tissue softness.
true.
So, of course, there's no pump. that you can service the pump and you can probably fuel the pump up and everything will be going. It has to be through movement, it has to be through
Has to be.
breath, and it has to be through softness of the tissue. So you have to keep your body agile
Absolutely.
in order for this thing to happen. Another very important thing, as you mentioned earlier about the example of that lady that you gave, stagnant lymph leads to swelling. It leads to
Yeah.
pain, it leads to fatigue, and something very important for the cause that we are having this podcast, it 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 leads to hormonal congestion. Now, all this beautiful talk about it, we've understood what lymph is. But then again,
Now what
as
to
you
do?
always say, what do you do about it? What do you do about it?
So I am going to be sharing two of my favorite exercises, which without fail, and ever since I have understood menopause and the importance of lymphatic drainage, they are a part of my daily workout. So for me,
Perfect.
they are more about, what should I say, kind of, they keep me sane.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so this is it. Very simple, which a lot of us do, or we might be doing as part of our routine. So, again, I'm going to go into a side pose. We are going
Right.
to lift our hands up. Why the hands up? Because then you're working the lymph nodes in the armpit area. Then you bend down and again lift up and bend down and again lift up. I'm sorry, I'm wearing shoes. Maybe I should just remove this. So, yeah,
So-
much better. Okay, so up, down, up, down, up, and down. Okay, so this
Right.
kind of covers the entire body. Now, when
Right.
we are looking at two different parts of the body, a very common exercise, we all do knee ups, right?
Hmm.
Which is a very common exercise. Now, if you have to add arm movements to it, which is
Hmm.
this way, you are also addressing the lymphatic drainage system. There are lots of exercises, and now because people are becoming aware, they are, focusing more on a combination. So,
Hmm.
combination of your lymphatic drainage. I don't, we can touch upon fascia, which is mobility and resistance training.
I was about to say
Simply
that. I was
because,
about to say
yeah,
that.
simply because only one part will benefit, but
Hmm.
there could be something else that is going on which might not be addressed by that.
Right. Right.
So, when
Right.
we are creating a workout or when we are creating a program, especially for women who want to address preventive care, we put together all these things. Everybody talks about resistance training, everybody
Hmm.
talks about strength training. Why do we need to start talking at 30 or 35?
Hmm.
Simple activities which are girls or boys or whatever, just carrying your bag on both sides equally
Hmm.
will help
Wow.
with your posture, which these kids are
Wow.
having. So, why wait for us to hit a certain tough patch to be able to realize that, oh, now's when it has to become a part of you know, part of our childhood, which unfortunately these days not happening.
It's not.
So,
It's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
It's not. And
I
you
hope that
touched upon
exercise made
something.
sense, huh?
It does actually. And you touched upon something. You touched upon something that is really intriguing. Why? Because there's a lot of talk about it. A lot of talk about it.
My
And I'm
favorite
talking about
topic is it.
fascia.
That's my
I'm talking
favorite.
about fascia. So, what I understand about fascia is that fascia is a continuous web from head to pelvis. Number one, correct me if I'm wrong. Number two,
Right?
stress, immobility, trauma it stiffens fascia, and in turn,
Yeah.
it should be stiffening your tissues as well. So, going back to what lymphatic fluid drainage, the principle was that you need to have soft tissues. Here, you would be having stiffened fascia, stiffened tissues. And the other thing what fascia does is it connects lymph, it connects pelvic floor, it connects pain, and it connects posture.
Yeah.
So tell me, where am
Huh.
I wrong or if I'm
You're
right
not
in all
wrong.
these aspects?
You're not wrong. But fascia is a web of connective tissue. Yeah.
Right.
Now that connective tissue is in a gel form.
Hmm.
And do you know what it is made up of? Collagen.
Absolutely.
So when there is, okay, so let's talk about fascia. Good quality fascia needs hydration. Good
Hmm.
quality fascia needs fluid. Good
Right.
quality fascia needs to be happy.
Happy. Wow.
Yeah. So fair, we have our issues, but if we are not going to ensure that the fascia is happy, then everything will be sad in our body. Yeah,
Tight, stiff, you mean to say, right? Because
absolutely. So,
sadness is associated with stiffness.
absolutely, sadness is associated with stiffness, sadness is associated with trigger points, sadness is associated with lack of blood flow, sadness is associated with negative
Right.
emotions.
Right.
So,
Right.
when we are looking at the pelvic floor, we are looking at all these components, which we need
Right.
happy pelvic floor, no? So,
That's a
fascia,
beautiful,
coming back.
beautiful point. Yeah, beautiful point. Actually, I never understood in this language as you have explained.
So let's go back to fascia. Fascia
Hmm.
is connective tissue, which is connected right from the base of our skull down to the bottom of our ankle. It's a web of connective tissues, and simply your bones are connective tissues, your ligaments are connective tissues, your tendons are connective tissues. It's just that the way they are packed together is how they are called. So they are all connective tissue. Your bone needs fluid, ligaments need fluid, tendons need fluid. Everything in the body needs fluid, right? And when there is constriction of fluid within the body, and especially when we are talking about trauma, when we are talking about women struggling with menopause, the most important organ which gets, or the most important area which gets affected is the pelvic floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So when we are talking about fascia, I want to share two very simple exercises which will
Yes.
help make sure that the fascia around the pelvic area stays mobile. Obviously, it will help the entire body because mobility is not specific to one body part. It covers the entire body. But a
Right.
very simple exercise, which is one of my favorite, which kind of addresses the entire body, is this. So again, I'm going to go on the floor. I'm going to go on the floor. Okay. Now I'm going to go into a box. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
And my my hips and knees are in alignment, so they're hip width apart. I bring my
Right.
shoulders drop down and I have a flat back. So try to make sure you don't have these bumps. It has to be kind of straight in line. And all you need to do is bring the right leg forward. Now, when we are bringing
Hmm.
the right leg forward, we make sure that we are stable. And then you just lift your
Hmm.
arm up, bring it down, switch sides. And that's like a very basic mobility exercises. Now, Another very good pelvic floor mobility exercise is something that we do all the time. We do this in
Okay.
yoga.
Right.
We can
Yoga
do
as
this
well.
lying down. What is happening? We are giving the pelvic floor space to expand, the fascia, the space to expand.
Hmm.
Otherwise, if your pelvic floor is constricted due to any reason, the hip gets affected, vice versa. The legs get affected, vice versa. The lumbar area gets affected, vice versa. The discs get affected, and so on, so forth. So it's like a chain, like a stack of dominoes, that if one falls, everything else falls over a period of time. Yeah,
I like to ask you something.
please.
It's
I'm
just, it's
sorry, I'm
just
on the floor now.
doesn't matter. I mean, you are explaining it so well for us.
Okay.
Madhurji, during childbirth,
Yeah.
that's a
Oh,
very
my favorite.
traumatic, that's a very traumatic experience physically, I would say. Yeah, emotionally, it's a very fulfilling thing, very satisfying to have another life come out of you. Hip bones get displaced.
They don't get displaced, but what happens? There is a slight shift. We
Shift.
have muscles in our abdomen, we have muscles in the pelvic floor, which expand. So the muscles are attached to the bones to keep them together, right?
Right,
So what
right,
happens when we are pregnant? The body is such an intelligent organism that it has to prepare the pelvic floor to be able for the baby to come out, right? Now, what is happening? So the body itself is creating space. Yeah. So
hmm,
when the body is creating space, the fascia is getting extended, the muscles are getting extended for the free flow of the baby.
right.
So when people say the hips shift, they cannot shift, but there is a slight change in uh uh the not the shape, but I would say the position. The position of the hips change. So some
Right.
women who have very small hips, but
Hmm,
if they have good fascial movements, they can very
hmm.
easily have normal births. And
Now this brings me.
again, yeah.
Sorry, please go ahead.
No,
I'm
no,
so sorry.
please, let's move on. Otherwise, I will keep talking.
So
One of my favorite
what I'm
topics.
what I'm what I'm trying to get down to here is women who are planning their families late in life, right?
Yeah,
They don't realize 35ish. Probably they've already entered perimenopause. There's a lot of
absolutely.
emotional storage that started to happen in their pelvic floor area. At the same
Mm,
time, when they deliver a child, all this
true.
physical trauma happens in that particular thing. Is that the reason why there's a greater magnitude of postpartum depression in that segment?
Yes and no. So, postpartum depression, because there is a lot of hormonal imbalance.
Hmm.
Obviously, when the pelvic floor shifts, or the muscles in the pelvic floor, or the fascia in the pelvic floor is changing, there are
Hmm.
structural, there seem to be structural changes in the body. Yeah, there seem to be a shift in your entire lower abdominal area. Now,
Hmm.
postpartum depression is hormonal based, which
Right.
is again storage. If we look at emotions, obviously
Hmm.
emotions are connected to hormones. So,
Hmm.
also, unfortunately, for them to have a child at such an age, there is a lot of fear.
Hmm.
A lot of these girls are having babies through IVF.
Right.
So the fear is the first factor which I personally feel is a cause for a postpartum depression.
Fear.
Yes, because if you are having a child at at an age where you might feel, will I be able to bring up my child, or when my child is 20, will I be alive? Or when my child is
Right.
30, will I see my child married? Because
Right.
obviously at the back of your mind, you have realized that, oh, I've had a late child. Now that's the psychological. Physical, because these days perimenopause has is coming earlier, those hormonal changes are also happening
Hmm.
and we don't realize it. Therefore, the awareness is very important to make sure that a girl or a woman who is conceiving at a late age or is looking at motherhood at a late age keeps all these factors in mind and prepares herself to be able to do justice to the child. See, because at the
Then,
end of the day, the child is the one
hmm,
who's suffering, right?
absolutely. And then I want to have a connection. I want to scope out the possibility of a connection looking at how age or prematured aging because of certain hormonal changes that affects the quality of fascia that stiffens up. So what I'm trying to connect here is premature aging because of hormonal functionality during perimenopause affecting the quality of fascia, your tissues stiffening up, and
Okay.
that making the pelvic floor constricted, eventually leading to heavy mood swings, that loss of identity. We are trying to bring a structure to these psychosomatic conditions here.
Okay, so when we look at fascia, fascia breathes.
Hmm.
It's fluid, it
Hmm.
breathes. So whatever is happening to any part of the body is happening to fascia itself.
Yes.
Fascia needs hydration. Like I
Hmm.
said, no, a happy fascia is a happy pelvic floor. Simply because when there is not awareness, when there is no prevention, the the first thing that gets affected is breath, because any stress, any situation or any information that one is not comfortable with,
Hmm.
you know, transfers into breath, shallow breathing. Obviously, because your fear factor comes in. So the
Hmm.
breath gets affected, blood flow gets affected, your fluid movement in the body gets affected, and hydration gets affected, whether it's the cells or whether it's fascia. So fascia is also made up of cells, but I'm breaking
And
that down.
what I understand is that loss of estrogen, loss of progesterone is directly equivalent to poor collagen,
Absolutely.
and
There,
collagen
yeah,
is equal to fascia.
yeah,
So when your fascia's quality is diminished,
deteriorates. See,
it
you are
starts
losing
to have
muscle tonicity.
constrictions. Yes.
Yeah, because you're losing muscle tonicity, because fascia is connective tissue and muscle is connective tissue. The entire body is a web of connective tissue. So muscle is
Perfect.
also part of connective tissue. So obviously, when there is depletion of estrogen, there is depletion of collagen, and then there is depletion of strength in the muscles. When I'm looking at it from a physical therapist point of view,
That's
I
exactly
am
what.
looking
Yes.
at a weak pelvic region.
Hmm.
Now, when I'm looking at
Hmm.
a weak pelvic region, what is the first thing I will do? I will get that individual to do pelvic strengthening exercises.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at it as a full kind of a circle, we've looked at emotions, we've looked at fascia, we've looked at the first thing that anybody should start with is pelvic floor movement exercises.
And may
That
I
is,
ask you to demonstrate one of those, please?
yeah, sure. Uh, okay, so simple exercise. Yeah, I'm lying down. Am I visible?
Yes, you are. You are.
So our pelvic region is this region, right?
Mm,
Now, what I'm going to ask each and every one to do is place your hands in the lower back, and you're
mm,
going to try and press your hand into the floor or the bed.
mm,
Now, for a beginner, what is easy is if you dig your heels in, you get the
mm.
support, right?
Right.
And this is the first step for your Kegels. So
Right.
that's a basic pelvic floor exercise, which can be done at any given point of time. Another
Right.
very simple technique, which I
Mm,
keep telling everybody who should try, not too much, because too much of anything is
mm,
detrimental. But
mm.
for girls, especially for women who are having these weak pelvic floor muscles, even men, since they are also going through menopause, a great
Right.
exercise is when you're trying to pee,
Mm,
try and hold your pee for maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Imagine
right.
you are trying to kind of holding your pee so that over a period of time you become aware of your pelvic floor muscles.
Right.
It's just
Right.
to ensure that. So there is a lot. So a lot of people think that, okay, if I'm doing core workout, I'm working my pelvic floor. Could
Mm,
be, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes people say that I'm doing a core workout and still the cores are weak. So these are some very small actionables that
beautiful.
we could
Beautiful. Beautiful.
look at specifically with respect to pelvic floor. So, getting a combination of mobility, lymphatic drainage, your resistance training, awareness. There is so much that can be brought together, consolidated to create your own personal pelvic floor, I mean, prevention. What did you say? I'm forgetting the
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
Preventive and care, preventive care
yes,
as
yes,
approach towards, health. Yeah.
absolutely. So it's a combination of everything.
Before
Yeah,
we end this podcast tonight,
yeah,
Madhurji, I have one layer to add to this. We've
sure.
spoken about fascia, we've spoken about
Yeah,
lymphatic drainage, we've spoken about pelvic floor and its purpose. And I'm sure, I mean, there's a lot of conversation still due on our part to explain. And I'm sure everything can't be explained in one particular video. But what's the underlying common thing that we all need to understand before we actually start to implement these actionables is whatever you do, you should be mindful about it. So, first of all, be mindful about what you are doing, why you're doing, and then only probably expect results. Am I right in this?
absolutely. Absolutely. So, uh, I believe in so for me, you have to be a happy puppy.
Great, great, great.
You are constantly writing down these things, and I'm constantly watching. So a happy puppy, someone who is happy will always be aware
Yeah, yeah,
because you are
perfect,
living in the present. You know,
perfect.
people who I have noticed in so many years, those are living in the present. So when you start living in the present, that right now, what is it that I am doing? You could be, you might have 10,000 things to do, but at that point of time, whatever you are doing, are you focused towards doing that? And it's not only about pelvic floor, it's about your day-to-day
Everything,
activities.
everything,
So
everything, everything.
if for example, you come into my class, you do 1 hour of core workout, but you're slouched like this the whole day, it's not going to help. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but it's not going to help. It
absolutely.
will help up to a certain point, but
Uh,
you have to be mindful of each and every action. So, and that will filter into these workouts or these routines or the ability to be able to focus. So therefore, that first grounding exercise that we did comes
it
into
has to
play here.
be. It has to be. It has to be. And so, Madhurji, we have spoken at length about fascia. We've spoken at length about pelvic floor. We've spoken at length about lymph. We've even seen you demonstrate a lot of mobility exercises, actionables as we call them. How do we bring all this together in a cumulative preventive care sort of a system?
So, when we look at a pelvic floor, we are looking at strengthening, we are looking at resistance training, we are looking
Hmm.
at mobility, which takes care of your fascia. We are looking at your awareness and the grounding exercise that we did right in the beginning
Hmm.
to when you were talking
Right.
about mindfulness. So, when
Hmm.
we say mindfulness, which you did add, I feel it's not only about exercise, it's not only about pelvic floor, it's about our own day-to-day activity. So when I'm looking at
Absolutely.
specifically pelvic floor, I am looking at having the tools to be able to overcome any or all issues which are connected to pelvic floor. Yeah, because it stores emotions.
Hmm.
So for that, we need
Yes.
to do breathing awareness exercises. It is connected with muscles and fascia. Therefore, we need to ensure that the fascia is hydrated, the fascia is not stuck,
Right.
the fascia is not dense. For that, we need to constantly keep doing mobility exercises and
Right.
specific
Right.
pelvic floor exercises, which I demonstrated, are the Kegels and
Hmm.
which will ensure that there is continuous maintenance of tonicity of the muscles. Yeah. And
Perfect.
last but not the
Perfect.
least is your lymphatic drainage. So if together you create a program which includes all these components, we have pretty much
Hmm.
taken care of preventing and
Right.
ensuring that the pelvic floor muscle has the ability to handle any and all trauma which it has to go through.
Before I end this podcast, I like to tell my viewers why I call Madhurji the guiding light for me personally and for the collective as well. Whenever I message her or whenever I call her, I say, "How are you doing?" Me rocking, and that me rocking two words there. They send your energy through the sky and say, "Okay, wine. Why am I feeling heavy when it has to be like that?" So thank you so much, Madhurji. Thank you so much for being that strength for this collective. Thank you so much for going to such lengths and actually explaining things to this beautiful, beautiful way. I'm so thankful to you for all that you do for us.
No. Thank you, Harman. I think it's a great effort to bring so many people of diverse specialities, bringing them all together on one platform. And I'm really, really hoping that through this platform, we can reach out to as many people as we can, and we should be able to bring about positive changes in their body. So, I think my request to anybody and everybody who is watching these videos, if there are any questions, any queries that you wish to discuss, keeping in mind your privacy, please reach out on the platform, and all of us who are a part of
Yes.
this platform will be there to support you and basically to empower you. So, Harman, thank
Yeah.
you so, so much for this
Thank you.
great opportunity. And you have a
Thank you.
great, great day, evening, night.
Perfect.